Welcome back to Valley Sports Talk, back with our podcast for episode 2. Today we are going to go over our Super Bowl recap very quickly, and then we're going to jump right into our All-Star predictions, and then at the end we'll talk a little bit about the Canadian North Division in the NHL. As always, my name's Noah, and I'm here with
Brandon
and Max,
and we're going to jump right into our Super Bowl recaps.
All right, I'll go first because I was wrong. I had the Chiefs winning the game 31-24, so I wasn't even close to the prediction. I had Patrick Mahomes winning the MVP. It normally goes to one of the quarterbacks, so I picked the quarterback I thought was going to win. The one thing I was right on is I said the defense that holds the other team to under 28 will probably win the game, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers did a lot better than that, holding the Chiefs to under 9. So I was very wrong.
I had the Chiefs 31-27 against the Bucs, and just like Brandon, I was also quite off. Honestly, I think a lot. We were saying this earlier. I think a lot of people would say that no one really saw this game coming in terms of the score was and how the game was played. I mean, the Bucs were gonna have a strong defense. We knew that, but yeah, no. Hats off to Brady. I mean, number 7. That's pretty incredible. So, yeah.
So I was the only one that got it right. My score was 27-24 or 27-23. Obviously, my score wasn't right, but I predicted the Bucs to win. I predicted Tom Brady MVP. I also said that the way that the Bucs were gonna have to win is they're gonna have to get pressure on Mahomes, and that's exactly what they did. The QB pressure I read was like 40 something in the 40s.
Oh, it was crazy. It was like
40 to like 5 for QB pressures. Mahomes ran 498 yards scrambling. So you're not going to win and you're also not going to win the football game if you can't score a touchdown. So that doesn't really help.
No. And when you have 11 penalties.
Yeah, that was a lot of penalties.
Yeah.
So, Super Bowl recap. It'll be a good year next year, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be... Well, hopefully the Super Bowl, we get a better game than that. I mean, 9 points, not even a touchdown for Kansas City is kind of like, you would never guess
mind-boggling.
You would never guess that.
So would you say that was because of the offensive line, or like what?
It's definitely a key. It was
Well,
definitely
they had 2 offensive line players hurt, which definitely...
The 2 starters.
Which definitely...
Didn't help.
Yeah, that doesn't help
They
at
were
all.
their 2 best lines.
But you saw Tampa Bay do that against Green Bay, too, so it was pretty expected.
Yeah, no, I understand that. Yeah, I would have to agree. I think Brady played just like how we kind of expected him to play, honestly. I think that's the thing that's so... Obviously, he's the greatest of all time, and, he's gotten to prove it time and time again, but, like, it's kind of just, like, I expect it. Like, it's... You know what I mean? Like, how he was that Super Bowl game, it was... I don't know. I mean, we watched it, and it's not like we were just saying, like, wow, I didn't think Brady could do that. It's like, no, yeah, that makes sense.
But it was just like, it was just classic. It was like everybody gets the Super Bowl, and they're like, people got to put up some crazy plays to win the game, and then Brady was just an average, calm, no mistakes game.
Cool and collected.
Yeah.
Like, Mike Evans had 1 target for 13 yards. Like, the ball was shared. Like, Brady, there wasn't like a big play. They just played a team game. Their defense played well, and then their offense just moved the ball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It wasn't like a 1-person game. It was a team win. But
no, for sure.
So I was recently I watched a clip of, I don't know if you guys noticed, but in one of the last plays before they're about to kneel for the game's done, you can see Brady with the huddle, right? He's about to huddle in, and the other guys on the team are kind of just like loosely like, okay, let's just get this done and over with. We know we won. Just kind of waiting to celebrate. And Brady just like, and basically gets everyone's attention and just snaps at them. And then he starts just dropping F-bombs saying, let's go. And
Game's not over.
Game's not over. And it's like...
Yeah, you got to go to the final whistle.
Yeah, exactly. And like to have that mentality, it's just in you. Like there's not many guys that can like be like that and just be like zoned in. Like, there's a different level. So it was pretty cool to watch for sure.
That's what you learn by being there 10 times.
Yeah. I'm happy that
I
thought the Chiefs were going to win because, it's nice to see Brady just consistently, be great and prove everyone wrong. But, yeah.
So we'll go right into the next sport, which we will focus now on NBA. And we're going to give you guys our All-Star predictions. So we got 5 starters for each conference. And then we'll also give you 7 reserves. And we will give you our prediction for who we think is going to win the Kobe Bryant All-Star Game MVP. so I'll hand it over to Brandon first.
So I feel like the starters are going to be pretty similar in both divisions. So if we have the same starters, we probably won't mention them too much. If we have different starters, we'll probably talk about them a little more. So we'll all just say our starters, and then we'll talk about the different names we get. So for my East starters, I have Bradley Beal, James Harden, Kevin Durant, Giannis, and Joel Embiid.
My East starters, I have Trae Young, Jaylen Brown, Kevin Durant, Giannis, and Joel Embiid.
And my East starters, I have Kyrie Irving, Jaylen Brown, Durant, Giannis, and Joel Embiid.
So our three big men.
Three front courts are all the same. Just the guards, we had a bit of a mixture. So, Brandon,
Did you guys have the same front court?
No. I have Kyrie Irving, he has Trae Young.
Backcourt, that's front court.
That's what I mean, sorry.
Yeah, so me and Max are the same two guard. We just have different point guards. You do have completely different between all of us.
Okay.
Who's your two guard? Who's
James Harden?
He is Beal at the point.
Oh, okay.
Beal and Harden.
He technically doesn't have like a real point guard.
It's the
Harden
all-star.
can play point.
Yeah, he can play the point.
Okay, so that's a terrible list.
We're already going off. All right, I have Beal in there just because his stats are insane. I know a lot of people, some people in this podcast will say his record hinders him a little bit, but personally, I don't think it does. His stats are his stats.
His stats are his stats.
His stats are his stats. Like,
that doesn't make any sense.
You don't make any sense. He deserves to be there. He's putting up crazy
he deserves
numbers.
To be second last? Like what? Yeah,
no,
he doesn't deserve to be second last.
Dead last. They're tied for the worst record.
James Harden, his move to the Nets, people thought his numbers might drop a little bit, but some could say his scoring's gone down a little bit, but you'd expect that having a big three, but his assist numbers have gone way up for somebody who has been chirped in the past for not being a playmaker.
I didn't say he wasn't a playmaker. He just doesn't play defense.
Well, people have said that in the past with his low passing numbers, but I think he deserves to be there.
Trae Young, the Hawks are a playoff team, and nobody thought they're going to be a guaranteed playoff team. They could have been. People thought they might be in the playoff tournament, but people are giving them like one more year. So Trae Young is the leader on that team. He's led them into the playoffs, and he's putting up pretty good stats at the same time. So that's the reason why I have him there. I also take record into effect a lot, so that is mainly why Beal is not in my starters.
I'm not in your starters?
I said Beal.
Oh, I heard Beal.
I said Beal. I meant to say Beal. And then Jaylen Brown. The Celtics are a 4th seed, and Jaylen Brown has been there while Kemba's been out hurt, and Tatum had COVID. And Marcus Smart has also been in and out of the lineup. So Jaylen Brown's been that main guy who's basically got them to where they are, and I just think he deserves some recognition. So that is mainly the reason why I have him as my starting two.
Okay, so in my lineup, I had Kyrie in replacement of Trae Young. I had Kyrie in replacement of Bradley Beal, and I had Jaylen Brown in replacement of Brandon's James Harden, and Noah had Jaylen Brown as well. So I would have to say Kyrie Irving is by far better than Trae Young as a player, and I don't see why Trae Young should be in that lineup spot. And I also think, although Beal is maybe as talented as Kyrie Irving, I don't think he's shown or proven that his game produces like a winning mentality, or just getting an opportunity to actually succeed. Just because you put up those numbers, are those numbers actually good if they don't actually lead to wins? And Kyrie Irving's a champion. Kyrie Irving's this. We know
he's
who
also
he is.
a nut job.
He's a nut job who's won a ring. I'll take nut jobs who get me rings. If
Yeah,
you're
he's
making that
also-
shot
he's
over
also
Curry
LeBron's
in the last two... Pardon?
He's also LeBron's bitch.
Okay, but would you rather Kyrie Irving or Bradley Beal? Because we know Bradley Beal has never won a championship.
Personally,
but the All-Star games, I think Kyrie Irving is definitely who you would choose regardless, because Kyrie's numbers aren't that much different.
This year he's had better numbers
if we're
than
taking
any other year.
Yeah, but he's also played less games, and he was gone for 7 games.
He hasn't played that many less games than Trae Young. How many games has Trae Young played?
Trae Young's played all season.
Probably the whole season.
But how many
he's
games?
Probably 21,
and he's played 17 games. So he's 4 games
Yeah,
more. And think about how big the season is. If we're going overall, you would have
That's
to.
That's not what we're doing, though. It's the All-Star game.
It's the All-Star game.
Okay, well, even at
until the All-Star
point.
So far,
I would still say Kyrie Irving had a better season than Trae Young because he's put up 27.5 points, 5.8 assists, and Brandon, you even made the argument yourself that Harden's points would go down because he's part of a big three. So that 27.5 is even that much more impressive, considering Trae Young is one on his own, really. Like, obviously, there's other people on his team that are going to get up points, but they're not Kevin Durant and James Harden. So he's putting up 27.5 points, 5.8 assists, 52% from the field, 41 from three, and 93% from the free throw line. And, I mean, they're actually doing a little bit better than the Hawks, too. So
They're doing a lot better, but...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like they're what? No, well, recently the
2.5,
Nets have been
1.5.
struggling.
The Nets have lost like what?
Yeah,
3
they
games
haven't
in a row?
Yeah,
really
they
great.
Kevin
Which is-
Durant is the guy on that team, and they're losing with them. They lost to the Pistons last night by like 20.
Yeah, Durant.
Kyrie-
They've lost to the two worst teams in the
Because
East.
Kyrie
They've
and
lost to
Harden
the-
can't carry the
They've
team.
lost to the
in my-
Pistons and the
You've,
Wizards.
you've seen it in years past. James Harden can't lead a team
I would
to the
argue
finals.
that's why. Okay,
But that's
well,
in the West, though.
he
I would.
They still lost to the Pistons.
I would argue.
Yeah, you're
that
right, but that happens. It happens from time to time. You're not going to go undefeated.
Harden, why I say he should not be in there is because he missed more. I think he's missed more games than Kyrie. I could be wrong.
I think he only missed games during the
He only
switch.
He only missed games. He's played 20. So
Oh,
he's played
okay, he's
3
playing
more.
more games. Never mind.
He's
But
just
still,
he missed because of COVID protocols and the switching. Of
Yeah,
teams.
but he wasn't. His season.
Look at his assists though. That's not James Harden like 13.3.
When you have that many good players around you, it
Okay.
kind of helps.
But okay, so he's been playing well, but he's not as efficient as Kyrie. He's not been playing as well as a scorer. He's been facilitating. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know. I don't like James Harden right now. Let's just put it that way. I don't know. He seems like I feel like he's kind of pushed. They're trying to shove their wins. I don't think they're relying on their defense enough, and I don't think
their defense is terrible.
I know. I think they need.
They don't have a defense.
No.
I think they need to.
They need to make a trade
they're-
for some
they're
sort of
sh- I think
defender.
they're shoving their offense.
They win by scoring 150 points.
But they're gonna give up 130, 140.
Yeah.
So are we done debating about our starters? We
Yeah,
can
I don't
move
think
in.
there's a wrong answer.
There's no
Yeah,
all these
like-
players deserve to be in the All-Star game. It's just our opinion, right?
Yeah.
So
I'm
we'll
not-
move.
yeah, I'm
we'll
not
move
gonna-
into the East reserves. We'll keep it going, and we'll go back to Brandon again here.
Yeah, again, if we got the bunch of same names, it's probably because they deserve to be there, we all think. And, I mean, if you guys are watching this podcast, you know their impact. I have DeMontis Sabonis, Gordon Hayward, Kyrie Irving, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Trae Young, and Julius Randle.
Okay.
I have Bradley Beal, James Harden, Kyrie Irving, Jason Tatum, Gordon Hayward, DeMontis Sabonis, and Bam Adebayo.
Okay, so I have Beal, Harden, Sexton, Tatum, Hayward, Sabonis, Adebayo, Vucevic, Young, and Middleton. You guys have Middleton?
Mm-mm.
I have him as my honorable mention.
You guys didn't have Middleton, no? Okay.
No, I didn't have
He's
that.
playing really well, and
They're all playing really
They're
well.
all well.
It's hard.
It's really hard. There's a lot of good. Like I left Julius Randle off my list. You can also make. I take record into a lot, but you can make
But
an
Julius,
argument
are
for
they
Jeremy
not? Are
Grant.
they not in a playoff
Next.
spot?
oh, Julius
They
Randle's on
were.
my list. Sorry, yeah.
Julius
Randle
Randle.
is
The
on my
Knicks
list.
are a 9 seed
Ninth
behind
seed.
the Raptors. They've kind of fallen off a
Well,
bit.
the Raptors just passed them, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they've fallen off a bit. I put honorable mentions on it. I have Vucevic, Brogdon, Fred VanVleet, Colin Sexton, and Middleton. You can throw Jeremy Grant in there if you want. You can throw Julius Randle. There's a lot of good players who deserve to be an All-Star, but unfortunately not all of them can make an All-Star game. So it's going to be interesting to see who doesn't make it, who gets snubbed, stuff like that. So
Yeah, that's the hard part. Like, there's the starters are pretty easy. Like, you got one or two players that you could debate, but the reserves are so hard in either conference. Like, there's so many people with good cases. There's people like that none of us have in our list. Like, none of us have Russell Westbrook. None of us have Jeremy Grant. None of us have Zach LaVine. Like, Noah, I think you're the only one with Bam.
Yeah.
There's good people that aren't going to be in it, and that happens every year, and that's just the part of only having 12 people in the All-Star game.
That's very fair.
So do we want to go ahead and do our West starters?
Sure.
Go again, keep everyone in the same
You
order.
want me to keep going? All right. I feel like the West starters are a lot easier to predict. The West is just so stacked. The starters I have are Steph Curry, Luka Doncic, Kawhi Leonard, LeBron James, and Nikola Jokic.
My starters are Damian Lillard, Steph Curry, Kawhi Leonard, LeBron James, and Nikola Jokic.
I have LeBron James, and this is an updated LeBron James, Kawhi Leonard, Jokic, Doncic, and Curry.
So you and me have the exact same,
I just
and you
substituted
have
Lillard
Lillard for Doncic.
for Luka just because the Mavs are not doing.
The
very
Mavs
well.
have been poor. Very.
They're
poor.
very. I mean, like
Honestly,
I said,
I'm hesitant on Doncic too, just because his numbers are
Like,
great.
the
But
only reason the Mavericks are a 13 seed and the Trailblazers are a 5 seed.
And
right?
McCollum's
only
been
won
out for a
2 more
while.
games.
McCollum has been out for a while.
The fact that they're staying afloat with just Lillard
and they
basically
beat
is
the other day. They beat the Sixers without McCollum, without Nurkic, without Lillard.
Lillard wasn't even playing.
They had Lillard was out that game.
What the
And they
heck were the
still- they
76ers
still- they
do?
beat- They beat them by like 15.
Who scored for the?
I don't know.
for
I
the-
didn't look at the.
What
I
was
didn't
the
look at the
score?
box
30
score.
to 15. Was that like the final score? Or? That's
I don't know,
insane.
I'll find it.
Yeah, I want to see who is scoring out there for them. Mello?
I want
Did
to
Mello
even,
go off for
I
60?
didn't even talk about Simmons because I can't even put him in my reserves right now.
That's because Simmons isn't good
Brutal.
enough. Simmons ain't good enough to
121
be
to
in the All-Star
105.
He's not-
They put up
Brutal.
121.
not
Who's-
Robert Covington.
Oh, right.
Mello had 22. Gary Trent had 24. Rodney Hood had 15.
How much did Rocco have?
9.
Oh,
Cantor had 17.
Rocco's in my
So
fantasy.
Where's Damian Lillard?
Joel had 37. They still didn't win.
Yeah, well, he's in fantasy too. He doesn't have to win. Wins don't count in fantasy. It's just points. Okay, so
So what do you guys think of Ben Simmons? Sorry, what were you guys
I
gonna
don't
say?
think he should
he's
be even
not
close
he's
in
not
the
an
All-Star
all-star.
game
He's
this
definitely
year.
not an all-star.
Oh, fair enough.
Fair enough. No arguments.
No arguments there.
No,
Did you give your starters? Yeah, we'll go into reserves now.
Okay, I got AD, Christian Wood, Damian Lillard, Devin Booker, Paul George, Brandon Ingram, and Donovan Mitchell.
I got Luka Doncic, Paul George, Donovan Mitchell, Anthony Davis, Brandon Ingram, CJ McCollum, and DeMar DeRozan.
so I have Zion, Paul George, Rudy Gobert, Davis, Ingram, DeRozan, and Mitchell.
You don't have Christian Wood in there?
Neither do I.
You guys are disrespectful. Disrespect. I
He's
guess
in-
you guys take record into account. That's true.
He's in
You
my
guys,
honorable
did you
mention.
guys have Booker in there?
because
He's in my honorable
As
mention.
if we would
Booker
take
ain't in
into
there either.
account
Do you have
that
Booker in there?
Am I?
No.
How many games has he played? Has he played? He's been.
He was
Healthy?
injured for like a week.
He hasn't been
That's
playing
the
that
thing,
well,
the-
has he? He hasn't been playing.
He's been playing pretty well.
The Suns are a 4 seed. I don't have a single.
Suns are a
I
4
don't have a
seed.
single All Star for them.
Well, if you guys take record into
I
account,
don't.
I
I
just
don't
also
mention
think that-
Chris Paul.
you
Chris
do you,
Paul.
you don't do you have a Jazz in there?
Yes, I got Mitchell,
You do got Mitchell. Okay, I was gonna say
and then I got DeMar in there because obviously Spurs are a 6 seed. They're not. They weren't expected to start a season to be there, and DeMar and Popovich have led them into that 6 seed.
DeMar is my next player for sure. If I could
Even though
add
he
one more.
hasn't been that consistent. That's the issue.
Who?
DeMar hasn't been super consistent. If you look at his stats, like don't get me wrong, he's putting up good stats, but he's a little bit inconsistent. He's like last night, 12 points, 3 rebounds, 6 assists.
Well, they probably lost.
Well, what does that mean? It's not like it's okay to have those points. Like that's what I'm saying. Like you want a guy that's more consistent. That just kind of like if he's gonna fall off, he's not gonna fall off to 12 points. Like he's gonna fall off to like 17, 18. You know what I mean?
But who's your East starter point guard?
Kyrie.
Kyrie. He's gonna drop down.
You don't have
He's
Trae
gonna-
Young?
Okay.
I thought you had Trae Young. No, I do. That's you.
No, I'm saying, for example, if you look at Kyrie in comparison to DeMar, DeMar's a good player, but he's not the same scorer as
Well, you
Kyrie.
can't compare Kyrie and DeMar.
Well, I'm just giving you why I don't like DeMar right now is because I find he's streaky. I do like his play, but I find it's like sometimes he'll just kind of fall off. He'll have a game where he just will be ineffective quite a bit. Like he was. I don't know. There's
That just
nothing
seems like the
about
whole Spurs team, though. That seems like a Spurs thing. Sometimes it'll just be like, yeah, you're a good team, and sometimes it'll be like,
Yeah,
what are you
that's
doing?
What are you doing?
That's just the Spurs.
Who knows about the Spurs? But yeah, anybody else have any? Oh yeah, you have Zion over Ingram.
Yes, I do.
You got Ingram?
I got Ingram.
I got Ingram, and Zion's overrated.
Zion's not overrated.
Zion's definitely not overrated, but he shouldn't be an all-star.
I don't understand. Okay,
I'm taking Ingram over Zion
look at
10 times out of 10 any day.
Me too,
Yeah.
right now.
Okay.
Right now, me
Well,
too.
I know you guys don't know anything about basketball, but you don't have to tell me straight up to my face.
Well, go ahead.
Okay. Well,
Change
here,
my mind.
let's just- okay,
You
so-
won't, but try.
yes.
Look up your stats because you don't know it by yourself.
Yeah, you.
Yeah,
There,
maybe
Zion's
you're-
averaging 23.
23.5.
Wow, don't even have it pulled up.
Yeah. When you look at his last 10 games, and considering how young he is, and the fact that he's more consistent than Ingram.
More consistent because he doesn't shoot the ball.
The only
So-
reason I
so
knew he had
this is
23
where-
is
this
because I
is where
tried
have
to get
an
him from
issue.
Max in
If
fantasy.
you get points, it doesn't matter. If you get numbers, it's not about how you get them. It's if you get them, and if they lead to wins, and if they lead to
Yeah, but you can't
to-
win if you can't win with him on the floor in the last minute of a game.
So this is where I would go to in comparison to a lot of other players that play like him. That just because you're not valuable in the last minute of the game doesn't make the other guy better than you.
Who?
Ingram. Like, just because he can play in the last 4 or 5 minutes in the game doesn't mean overall he's a better player. That just means in the last 4 to
Means
5
he's more
minutes.
reliable.
He's more reliable in that part of the game. What about in the first quarter and he's missing more than Zion? What about the second quarter and he's missing more than Zion? Like, they won't even have that fourth quarter opportunity if it's not for Zion. So what's the point of making that argument if you don't, like, you know what I mean? Like,
You can't really
Don't get
make an
me wrong.
argument for him missing more. Though.
I'm not gonna
Because that's like
You could
saying
say- you could
that's
say-
that's like saying, well, like Rudy Gobert is better than Steph Curry because he makes more. His field goal percentage is way better than Steph Curry's.
No, because the difference between those two is Gobert puts up like 13 or 14 points and Curry puts up like 28.
Mm-hmm.
Zion and Ingram both average the same amount of points. One's just about 15% higher.
Yeah,
So you're,
I'd rather the more versatile player.
pardon?
I'd rather the
Same.
more versatile player.
You wouldn't want, so, well, then you're not taking into account how
Zion takes a
basketball is
shot
won.
from 10 feet away, misses it, grabs it on a rebound, dunks.
Yeah.
Brandon Ingram's a good 28, 5-5 kind of guy.
He's
And
not 28, 5-5.
He
That's
could
not.
be.
He could be, but Zion could be even more than that, considering the fact that he's even younger than Ingram.
I don't see Zion ever being a
What do
good
you-
passer.
Okay, look at his actually in the last 10 games. I have Zion myself in my fantasy.
You're
So, of
just
course I
defending
know
your
this.
fantasy boy.
He's had, so in the last 5 games, he's had 20 points, 7 assists, 5 rebounds, 29 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds, 18 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds, 28 points, 6 assists, 7 rebounds.
Okay,
So,
pull up Brandon Ingram.
Okay, fine. Pull up Brandon Ingram.
They're going to be very similar.
They're going to be very similar, just one's going to have a higher percentage.
Exactly,
So,
but the
I
other
mean,
one,
it's-
The other one
the other
shoots.
one-
The other
the
one
other
shoots
one-
threes.
the other
That's
one can
like-
shoot from outside of 10 feet.
So, but like, so what if it doesn't get you the numbers and it's worse?
It does get him the numbers. They're the exact same.
No, they're not. The only difference is one has a higher
Exactly.
field goal percentage.
Exactly.
Yeah, because
So-
he's shooting the ball. Zion
you guys
only
keep-
dunks.
Of course
you guys
he's-
are talking about it.
You're
like,
saying
like it's not
you're saying
impressive.
it's a surprise.
I'm not
that
saying it's
he's
not
got-
impressive. I'm just saying I'd rather have Brandon Ingram on the floor, who's the more versatile, who can do more. If I'm a defender and I'm defending Zion, I'm sitting in the paint, daring him to shoot. I will give him that shot from.
And he'll make it most of the time.
No,
if you're
he
playing
won't.
against Brandon Ingram, he's 285 pounds and 6'7".
Yes, but I'm saying that if he's
No, he's
standing
not.
by 3, dribbling the ball, I'm going to be standing around the key area because he's not going. Because I will dare him to shoot it. If he shoot it and makes it, good for him.
Okay,
But the
put
percentage of him making it is very low.
He's either
No,
taking
but
a
here's-
3
here's-
or
here's-
he's taking a
Okay,
charge.
here's my point. If you're playing
Sun's not
if
moving.
you're playing 1-on-1 against either Brandon Ingram or Zion Williamson, Zion Williamson will have a better chance of scoring on you than Brandon Ingram.
I would argue that.
I would argue
That's
that
my
too.
point.
I
Like
would
if
argue
you
that.
have a good defensive player,
It's proven.
watch
That's why
the
he
amount
has-
of
If you
times.
have- if you
watch
have-
the amount of times
it's
Zion
proven.
takes a charge.
That's what his numbers
Zion
mean.
takes so
If you
many
have
charges.
Zion-
If he has 23.5 points and he gets it on 59% shooting, that means that when he has the ball in his hands and he goes to get a bucket, there's a better chance that he's going to get that bucket than Ingram is.
You can say that about Rudy Gobert
Yeah,
and
that's
Steph
okay.
Curry.
But they don't have the same amount of points, so it doesn't matter. It's not if Gobert was putting up 28 points on 60% field goal, then I would say Gobert might be better than Curry, but he's not even close to that. That's why you have Shaq. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like,
No.
Shaq is what Zion is just a mini Shaq.
Going back to your 1v1 question, if you have Zion versus Gobert or Brandon Ingram versus Gobert, there's way better chance that Brandon Ingram beats Gobert.
Yeah,
than
take the
Brandon
defensive
Ingram-
player of the
Zion
year.
Williamson.
Take the defensive player of the year.
Yeah.
If you got Zion against Giannis, and you got Brandon Ingram against Giannis, Brandon Ingram is probably going to score more points than Zion.
Against Giannis?
Yes.
Because Giannis is just going to protect the paint, take charges,
Where-
stand tall,
Okay,
and Brandon Ingram's going to hold him back, and then he can blow by him, or
And
he
you
can
can hit
stay
him off the
back
dribble,
there.
hit
Yeah.
a shot.
Okay, I agree, but I disagree because I still think
We're not saying Zion's bad.
I'm not saying he's bad. I'm
Giannis-
just saying
he's
that
not an
Giannis-
all-star.
Giannis is
He's not an
6'11",
all-star
so that's
yet.
a big ass dude.
Okay,
but if
That's,
you have
but
the
that's
average,
who Zion meets every
That's
single
who,
night
that's
in
who
the
guards
paint.
Zion.
He's meeting their center.
meeting
then
those
he's
big guys.
consistently still getting the points, so it's not like he's not doing well against those guys anyways. Like
He also takes tons of charges every game.
I only
And
think the only
he's
reason
he's a great player. He was the #1 pick. He's a great player. He will be a great player. He will be an all-star.
like
He also
But
puts
he's
up a
not
lot
yet.
of turnovers.
so-
he's
so
not
here's-
yet. That's
here's
because
what I'm
he
saying.
tries
Like,
to dribble
look
the
at
ball and loses it.
Ingram's also, let's not forget, Zion's in his second season and he hasn't even played a
Brandon
full
Ingram's in his what, 5th?
Yes.
This is why I'm taking him as an
That's
all-star.
why he's
We're not
an all-star
saying
over Zion.
I am not. We're not saying that
You
Zion
seem to forget
Williamson
the
is-
All-Star game is about this year.
I'm not saying Zion Williamson's a bad player. I'm just saying this year, I would personally rather have Brandon Ingram in the All-Star game than Zion Williamson.
If
If
this
if-
Pelicans team stays the same in the next 3 years, you'll probably have Zion in there over Brandon Ingram for sure.
Okay.
But right now, you don't.
So okay, I'm asking you, do you think long term, who do you think will be the better player? If you guys say Zion,
if Zion
I
can-
understand.
Zion has the higher
If
potential.
he has the higher ceiling, if Zion can
He's the
stay in
higher
shape
potential.
and maybe if he develops a decent 3-point shot, like if he develops like a shot like Pascal Siakam where he's taking 2 3s a game, maybe knocking one of them or 2 of them, then I would take Zion in the future.
I
But
don't think Brandon Ingram stats can get much better than what they are now.
They're gonna, he's gonna stay the same. If Zion can average 5 assists, averaging 24 and 7 rebounds, I for sure would take him.
Well, that's an all-star level for sure.
Exactly,
But
but-
that's not where he is right yet. But he can
His
get
numbers
there.
are still all-star number though. So
Yes,
that's the
100%,
thing.
but
That's the
that's
thing.
But
thing.
there's so many people
more
that don't make it that are all-star numbers.
But there's not many guys in the league that have better numbers than him. Like he has better numbers than Wood. I know he does.
That's why I have Zion higher on my honorable mentions than Wood.
And I
He
know-
will. Brandon's the only one that has Christian Wood.
I'm high on Christian Wood. What can
Don't
I
get
say?
me wrong. I think they're very similar.
I don't think Christian
just-
Wood and
I
and
just
Zion
think-
are- Oh, you're talking about Brandon Ingram.
I'm just
Like
you
you're
think
saying
Christian
Christian Wood was similar to Zion. I was like, I don't think that.
no. I'm not saying that. I think I do like Ingram. It's just I appreciate Zion's game a little bit more than Ingram's right now, just because of the fact that it's so. It seems like it's so consistent and it's so dominant, and it's trending upwards. And where I'm saying with Ingram's is it's probably gonna, like you guys said, it's gonna remain the same.
That's why my opinion will probably be different in years to come. But right
Yeah.
now,
If we're still
talking
doing this
about right
podcast somehow in 2 years, and we're talking about the All-Star game, I will probably have Zion over there over Ingram.
then you probably won't even have you might not even have Brandon
And I just
Ingram in an
predicted
honorable
the
mention.
future, I guess.
Well, it's not a hard prediction. He's the #1 pick. Like that's what you
He's a
would
freak.
assume.
But
That's
he's
what you
just-
would assume.
Just not yet.
Oh.
So,
All right.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on.
moving on to our top 5. Today,
Ben Simmons.
we're
is
going to
still
talk
in
about
Ben
the
Simmons.
top 5 voting snubs and top 5 WTF are fans doing. So we will start off with our top 5 voting snubs from 5 to 1.
All right. Okay. Let me pull it back up here. Okay, so my snubs are Nikola Vucevic, DeMar DeRozan, Chris Middleton, Malcolm Brogdon, and De'Aaron Fox.
Mine are Nikola Vucevic, De'Aaron Fox, Rudy Gobert, DeMar DeRozan, and Tobias Harris.
I had Tobias Harris, DeMar DeRozan, Rudy Gobert, Vucevic, and Ingram because I didn't actually put him on mine.
No, now you're going on. Now you're high on
I'll
Ingram.
put him in there. I'll put him in there.
So
Was
be
there someone
well,
that I had that you guys
had
didn't have?
Malcolm Brogdon and
Oh, Malcolm Brogdon.
Chris Middleton.
None of you guys had Chris Middleton in there.
Still very
I
strong.
mean, Chris Middleton. He's it's the same thing with Malcolm Brogdon. You could say. So I'm talking about both of them in the same sort of sense. They're great number 2 options. One's for Giannis. One's for Domantas Sabonis.
You could argue that Brogdon's the number 1
You
option
could argue
over
Brogdon.
Sabonis.
Yeah, maybe.
Not recently.
but I
not
would
recently.
no
Brogdon
like
has been playing great.
But they're great passers. They're great shooters. They can both grab a couple boards.
They're both great at defense.
They're both great defenders, which is, I mean,
think Sabonis
when
is
Giannis
better.
wants to go crazy, you need a good solid
Brogdon's
guy.
They're two different positions, right?
Brogdon's a
Perimeter
shooting guard, point guard, and Middleton's like a small forward. I would say.
I had Vucevic on there because he's playing great, but the Magic are not very good, which is why I don't think he'll make it.
I feel so bad for Vucevic every single year.
I think they should just, like, honestly, this is the perfect year. They have Mo Bamba. He's been sitting on your bench for 3 years doing absolutely nothing.
That's the thing with the Magic. They consistently are a 7, 8, 9 seed, get a mid-level draft pick. You can't get better that way.
I mean, Jonathan Isaac's great.
Yeah, but you're
Fultz
never
looked good. Fultz looked better until he tore his ACL. But personally, Vucevic is having I think he's having close to a career year. They should trade him. Like, they should completely restart, build around build around Fultz, Isaac, and Bamba.
I don't think Fultz is that good yet.
But that's why they
That's why
should
they
build
should start
around it.
building around
Try
it. I don't know
and
if
be
he can
bad.
be good
Get a
yet.
good
That's
draft
They also
pick.
have Cole Anthony. Cole Anthony's pretty good this year as a rookie.
Yeah,
The
he's
Magic
been
are never going to win
With the
with a team like
with
this.
the team they have.
They need to be bad because they're consistently average, and average is the worst place to be in a league. Like,
yeah.
you're not getting
No,
a
I
good
get
draft pick. You're getting knocked out in the first round,
Honestly,
or
they've
being
been
the next
worse
team
than
in.
average though recently. So you know what? Let's let them have average because they actually haven't been average recently.
They're pretty
Being
bad
under
this year.
average is
Yeah.
good for them. You
Yeah.
want to be under average, but they're still like right there. Like,
Yeah.
Both
That's
conferences at the start of the season right now are both very
Do we have
competitive.
Levine in either of our
I had-
conversations?
I had
He's-
Levine in. He was my
The reason I
next
The
man.
reason I don't
He's
take
been going off.
these snubs are people that didn't show up on the fan voting thing.
Yeah,
So
okay.
Levine wasn't
Levine
this-
showed up.
Yeah.
Levine
Yeah,
was
yeah.
like 5th.
Yeah.
I have Tobias Harris at 1 because I think he should be on there over Ben Simmons this year.
I didn't even think of Tobias Harris.
Not saying Ben Simmons is a bad player. I just don't think he's having a great year. And
Tobias Harris
I
has
don't
been
think
great.
he should be on that fan voting list over Tobias Harris. Rudy Gobert is kind
he
of...
above it? Yeah.
Tobias Harris isn't on there, but Ben Simmons is.
Yeah, that makes sense because he's better.
He's
than
Ben Simmons is the 10th ranked guy though. Like, he just made it.
Yeah,
Just.
and he's just a bit better
That's
than
last year.
Tobias Harris at
No, it's not.
basketball.
You sure?
That's this year.
Oh, yeah, you're
You got because you got Andrew
you're right,
Wiggins
you're
there.
right.
It's
You're
definitely
right.
this year.
And then Rudy Gobert's on there for me because obviously the Jazz have the best record in the league. I just don't see him as he's not a very exciting player to watch. He's a great stats guy, great defensive player to anchor your team, but the fans aren't going to vote for him. He's not an exciting player. And then DeRozan's up there because the Spurs are very respectable this year.
Yeah,
They are in a playoff spot, like I said earlier. So that's why for your snubs.
My what?
I haven't even
talked about my
snubs. Yes, I
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, Brogdon and Middleton.
Yeah, I already did talk about my.
You talking about your snubs?
No, you've been talking about your snubs.
We went and started beat then went to me then. Your snubs too. Like your snubs who weren't on the fan voting that should be.
Oh, I don't even have that.
Just look at the fan voting.
Just talk about.
And
Let me just
good
get-
players
let
that
me
aren't
just-
there.
Let me just write down some names quickly. We just get 5.
Just know what's talking about it. Just look at the All-Star
Did I
vote.
talk
Look
about De'Aaron Fox yet?
No.
Okay, so that's why I have DeMar DeRozan as one of my snubs, and then the last one I have is De'Aaron Fox. Kings are fighting for a playoff spot. They're the 9th seed right now.
I don't know how.
Yeah, I think they. I don't remember if they. I think they lost last night to Boston.
I think
won.
they beat
won.
Boston.
They
for
won. They
sure.
beat Boston. I was watching it, but I went to bed halfway through. So that's why I have.
Yeah. Last night is in February 10th. 9th. It's
Yeah.
February 10th today.
That's why I have De'Aaron Fox as one of my snubs. And once Max is ready, we will turn over to him for his snubs.
Right, so I also would include De'Aaron Fox in there, Vucevic. Let's see who else on this list. I'm shocked at how high Kevin Durant is on that list. He's number 1, even over LeBron James, even though he's kind of not even played that much. It's kind of shocking. But
He's just been great though.
he's
Like
been
he
amazing.
scored.
All-star
He
level,
scored 20
MVP
points.
level.
He scored
just-
every points
got
in
more than-
20 points in every game he's played this year, except for the one he left with illness or whatever the heck it
Against
was.
the Raptors.
so yeah, I would
Yeah.
also say so Vucevic, Gobert,
Back to the
McCollum's not on this list.
Yes, he is.
is.
Yeah. You're blind, man. You're blind.
Oh, he's 8. Okay, sorry about that.
You're blind.
Also, yeah, why is okay?
We're gonna get into that next.
Yeah, we're getting into that next.
I hear you there.
Honestly, yeah, Zach LaVine. I'd put him.
Zach
you're looking at
LaVine's
the
there.
West. You're looking at the West. Go down.
No, that's.
There's the Zach LaVine's number
Jeez.
5.
Wow. Okay.
Cut this.
Wow. Okay.
You're embarrassing yourself.
Wow. He said.
I did tell you guys before I didn't have any. Anyways, yeah, that's all I have for that.
You know who you could say? Tobias Harris.
No, I couldn't.
You do
because
not like Tobias, eh?
I don't. It's not that I don't like him. He's just he's just able to get you 20 points and.
Just 20 points.
Well,
no
there's a
big
lot of guys
deal.
that can do that. There's not many guys in the league that get you, 8.5 assists and 8.5.
Also, only same. This is basically we're basically going to talk about Zion again because Brandon Ingram and Zion are very similar, except for Brandon Ingram not Brandon Ingram. Ben Simmons and Zion are very similar, except for the fact that Zion can't pass the ball, or can't pass the ball. He's not a top tier passer in the league like Ben Simmons.
And Zion's a monster.
All I'm
A
saying
scary,
is
scary monster.
Ben Simmons,
Scary guy.
although he's nowhere close to what LeBron James is, he has a similar game in terms of he puts
LeBron
up.
James can knock down the 3.
Yeah, no, LeBron James can knock down the 3. I'm not saying he can't. I'm just saying that I think Ben Simmons' game kind of has a lot of what I think he would be LeBron James without the 3, and even that's not that bad. Like, that's my point. It's like that's pretty freaking dominant, and that's what I think. Tobias Harris. What is Tobias Harris?
He's a shooter that'll knock you down
Tobias
points.
Harris
He
is
can
a
also
shooter.
beat you off the dribble.
Yeah, but like, there's a lot of.
I don't agree that Tobias Harris is like a second option, but I think he's a better option on a championship team as your second option than Ben Simmons.
Yeah, maybe. If Ben
Maybe.
Simmons, I think right now you can make the argument this second, yeah, sure, but I think long term, I'd definitely take Ben Simmons over Tobias Harris.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, but for this year, personally, I'd have
Maybe
Tobias Harris over Ben Simmons. So we will move into our top 5 WTF are fans doing. I'll go first.
Okay.
Number 5, Jimmy Butler has only played I think he's only played about 13 games, and the Heat aren't very good, so I don't think he should be that high up. 4, why is Melo on there? Melo's 37, not 27. 3, I go back to this. Why is Ben Simmons over Tobias Harris? 2, D Rose doesn't really make sense. Like, he's not playing. He's a great basketball player, and you got to respect
He played alright
him.
for the Knicks last
He did
night.
play pretty good for the Knicks in his debut. But
It's
just
good to
I don't think that D Rose should be up there. And number 1, why is Klay Thompson over there? I would take anybody who's ever played a minute this year over Klay Thompson because they have played a game this year. Klay Thompson's injured. Nothing against Klay Thompson. I just don't think that he should be up there at all.
Okay, I'll go next. I didn't put him in specific order. I just put players that I saw and was like, why are they there? So the first one I put down is Klay Thompson. Same reason as Noah. Like, he hasn't touched the NBA floor this year. He won't. So is he coming back at all this year? Didn't
No.
think so. So why is he getting hundreds of thousands of votes?
He's just under 100,000, I think, whenever
Well,
the first one came out.
Yeah. My next one is Melo. Another question, because I'm not a avid Melo fan. Did he finally accept a role on the bench?
Yes.
Melo is on the Portland Trailblazers playing as a bench man. He is not an all-star. He used to be an all-star.
He's a Hall of Famer. I think he's a Hall of Famer. I don't know what you guys have, but I personally
He's
think
a Hall of Famer for sure. Will go down as he's never won a ring, right?
No.
He'll go down as one of the better players to not win one. So
yeah, one of the best. Yeah. So.
Whoa! I've said 2 players.
Well,
My third one is Jimmy Butler. Same reason as Noah. I think he's played like 8 games this year.
he hasn't played 8 games.
Yes.
He's played like 13.
13, 8, similar. He, I don't know. And then 12.
Oh wow.
Not bad.
That's
See,
like.
I gave him one more.
yeah, like you can't give someone all-star voting after playing that many
And
games.
they're not even doing that well either.
No, they're not that
The
great.
Heat are probably
bad.
the most
They're
surprising
not-
team.
They're the most
in the
disappointing.
NBA
The most
right now.
disappointing team.
My fourth guy is
They've
Andrew
gotten
Wiggins.
They're on a 3-game win streak.
I got a lot of respect for Andrew Wiggins because he's a Canadian. He's having a pretty good season right now, but I mean, it's not an all-star season. I think he's putting up 17 And don't get me wrong, those are good numbers, but
No.
they're definitely not all-star numbers.
No, you shouldn't be there over like people like DeMar and
Yeah, exactly.
De'Aaron Fox.
Exactly. And then my last one is it's just kind of a little joke, just because we're from Canada. But there's no Raptors players. I don't see no Raptors players. Let's go, fans. We got a whole country behind us. They should be number one. We got the most voters.
Yeah.
Come on.
Okay.
That's my 5.
Nice.
So I thought what I didn't exactly agree with is I didn't think Westbrook should have been in there, honestly.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
Is he in there?
He's like
Yeah.
7 or 8.
Yeah, he's done basically nothing.
Well,
so
he's
far.
been all right.
There's been nothing, but the
He's been
Wizards
alright.
aren't good.
The Wizards aren't.
The Wizards
good,
are gonna
and
get an
he's-
All-Star.
he's
It's gonna be
just-
Beal.
He's
No, yeah.
right now he's an okay second option on a
Terrible.
terrible team.
Yeah.
Like, not that good. And then you also have Derrick Rose in there, which I would have to disagree with. Like Noah was saying, he's not 22 anymore. I really love D Rose. Don't get me wrong. but
I
he's not
hoop
an
at D
all-star,
Rose.
yeah.
Be well.
D-Rose was the only player that shouldn't be there that I didn't put on the What Are You Doing fans just because I like D-Rose so much.
Yeah.
That's because you hooped in those shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I missed all my shots with those shoes.
Yeah, I agree. Jimmy Butler, not played 8 games, but
12.
12.
Really?
Like, come on.
Really?
Or more.
Did
Maybe
you know it was
said
12?
10.
Did
Maybe
you know it was
said
12?
10 or something like
Do you
that,
know
but
it was
8
12?
I knew it wasn't 8. It wasn't 8. Anyways,
I don't have it in fantasy.
he's playing well.
I don't either. I think Braden does.
Braden has him. Braden's
yeah.
been looking to trade him all year long. Nobody wants him.
Where are the Raptors?
Yeah, so a lot of people are actually saying Kawhi. It's not Kawhi. Pascal and Kyle Lowry.
Possibly.
Both.
I'd possibly take this year Freddie over Kyle.
Yeah.
And
I think
that's just fair.
I think
The
I
only Raptor
it's
that
fine.
deserves to
They're
be there this
similar.
year is probably
And even then,
Fred. This
Kyle's
year.
not even. It's not even. He's 35. He hasn't regressed. He's just not, like I said with Gobert. He's not the flashiest point guard you get. He plays defense. He makes his shots. He's just not flashy. Like, he can't dunk. He's like, I don't know. He's just not a flashy player. He doesn't get very many votes.
He accepts his role.
Also,
That's what I
why-
like
Yeah,
about.
exactly.
That's what
He's a
I
great
like.
leader.
That's what I like about Kyle Lowry.
Personally,
Like before they got Kawhi, he was their number one option. He was fine with that. Pascal came along.
Forgot about DeMar.
Were you
Yeah, I
guys-
know, but DeMar left. Well, I guess they got traded
What
for
were you
each
guys
other.
happy to see? Was there any players in there that you were happy to see in there that you didn't
That are
think
finally getting.
that got recognition that you didn't think were going
Oh, I
to?
I also think Jaw's way too high.
But
John Morant has not played that well.
He's not
I have
an
him
MVP.
myself.
He's not an MVP. He's not. Sorry, he's not an all-star. He's not bad. He's not an all-star.
I think he's only
He's-
putting up
no.
18 points this
That
year.
one I'm happy
I
to-
mean, points aren't everything,
I have
but your
him.
number one player should be putting
He's
up more
done
than
nothing.
He's at your starter there.
more than.
Can I scroll down here? One guy I'm happy to see would have to be Gordon Hayward. I gotta say Gordon Hayward.
I
He
was
he had that gruesome injury,
Yeah.
and he's finally returning back to his All-Star form. You know, played 2 or 3 seasons in Boston. Was the third or fourth option. Now he's finally on number one option on a Hornets team. Who is, I think they're currently fighting. Yeah, they're a 6 seed.
Yep.
They're a 6 seed right now. So Gordon Hayward definitely should be in the All-Star game.
Yeah, I don't want to say the same.
LaMelo Ball should be in the All-Star game.
No, he
too.
shouldn't be. No, he shouldn't be.
I know
Rookies shouldn't be in the All Star game.
Unless they're really good.
Let's throw LeBron.
I would probably say Gordon Hayward too, but I don't want to just talk about the exact same person. So I'll go DeMontis Sabonis. He's been great. People knew he was.
He's also not a flashy player again.
No, but he's in my fantasy, and he's carrying me, and I love him for it. Love to see him there.
But you're not doing that well, so you can't be getting your grade anyway.
You're
No,
not very good.
But my wins, I can contribute to
Brandon
him.
forgot how to win because all he cares about.
Brandon
is
in
how much
football
points
was first in the league going into the playoffs. Lost first round. We won't get that started.
What happened in the second
He
round?
beat me to finish third.
Yeah.
And then now Brandon's dead last in our...
No, I'm not.
he- Brandon's
Tied-
never beat me
tied
before
for
in fantasy
last.
Football.
Tied for last in our fantasy
What
basketball
about
league.
hockey?
I don't care about hockey.
Brandon's
First
never beat me
place.
in basketball
First
or fantasy.
place
I don't care about
in
hockey.
hockey. I'm beating you right now in hockey. I'm smoking you in
No,
hockey.
you're not.
Yes, I am.
You're not smoking me.
Yes, I am.
No, you're not.
We're 2 days in. I'm beating you by like 12 points.
Probably more like 8.
Here we go back to 8 and 12 again.
It's probably 10. Who do you like to see in there, Max? Don't
Yeah,
copy.
Who are you happy to
Don't
see
copy.
in the voting?
You're the one who
I
asked the
I
question.
asked the question. So
Oh.
I'm
So
copying.
you must have somebody.
All right. If I was to be happy with anyone in there in particular, honestly, I'm happy to see Kyrie Irving back in there.
Oh my
because
God. I'm
he
gonna
wasn't
give
in
a.
there.
He's a Kyrie Irving.
We're not gonna listen to Max because
Fanboy.
Kyrie Irving's obviously gonna be
And
there.
I'm-
I'm gonna give Max answer for him. Chris Paul. His stats aren't there.
Chris Paul's always around.
But
Kyrie
he
Irving's been
deserves
gone
to
for a
be-
bit. We didn't have him last year, right? I don't think he was in
He was
the All-
hurt.
He was all hurt, and
Yeah.
the year before he was on the Celtics. So
And
He
the
made
Celtics
zero
didn't
for
work out.
yeah, I know it was terrible. But I think this team will do well. I don't think they're going to be LeBron, but they're going to be good.
Oh yeah. Oh, we forgot to talk about this. Who do you guys think is going to be the Kobe Bryant All-Star MVP?
Oh, LeBron. Yeah, LeBron.
I got KD.
I'm gonna throw it a wild. I guess it's not even wild. They're all stars. I'm gonna say Nikola Jokic.
Lame.
Lame. You pick LeBron? Didn't you say LeBron?
Yeah.
and you said Jokic is boring.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna go out of basketball here. We're gonna move right into the NHL. For this episode,
Luckily for Max,
we'll only be
Shut
talking
up.
about the Canadian division. First month recap, the Canadian division. You have the Leafs in first, the Canadians in second, the Jets in third, the Oilers, the Canucks, the Flames, and we don't even want to talk about Ottawa. There's no point in talking about them.
I'd love to talk about all.
No, you wouldn't. Let's be honest.
Okay, let's talk about Ottawa real quick. They are terrible, brutal, and they're not going to get better. So
This year,
that's good enough about Ottawa.
negative 26 goal differential.
Yeah,
That's
and I don't what's his name? Hogland? No, what's their other goalie?
Hollander.
Whatever his name, he is. Oh my
God
god!
awful.
If you watch his positioning, half of his body is when he slides over to make a save. Half of his body is on the far side of the post. Like he's not. I watched some of the game last night while doing school, and if this table is the net, he wasn't covering half of the table, and it was just like a gimme goal. He's terrible.
Honestly, they should have won last night.
They had like 40
They had
shots.
42 shots to like 27.
Yeah, they should have
They should have won.
If Matt Murray was in the Nets, they probably would have won.
Matt Murray's an underrated goalie. I gotta show him respect because he's played for my Penguins. So
Yeah.
that's the main reason I like him. So yeah, we're gonna get into a new segment. We're gonna call it Real or Fake. Basically, we're naming off every team except for Ottawa because we already know.
Everyone.
We
knows
just went over
they're
Ottawa.
fake. They're
We're gonna go through every other team that has a chance to make the playoffs, and we're gonna say if we think they're a real team or if we think they're faking. So, what team you guys want to start with?
Let's go Montreal.
Montreal? Who wants to go first?
I'll start us off. So we're talking about 6 of the 7 Canadian teams. So I thought it'd be fair to go 3 real, 3 fake. I have the Montreal Canadiens as real. They seem to be clicking together. They don't have I wouldn't say like an all-star, but they have guys who are accepting their roles and are exceeding at them. Their defense has been great this year. They're scoring goals. I think they're leading the league in goals for. They arguably have the best goalie tandem in the NHL. Price is Price, and Jake Allen is Jake Allen is playing out of his mind, and it's good to see him back like that. They're real.
Personally, I got the fake. A team cannot. I base my real and fake off of chances at going all the way and winning a Stanley Cup. And Montreal is a couple of years, maybe 2 or 3 years from being that. You need stars on your team to go all the way. You saw it with lots of teams. Sure, Dallas might have been a bit of a stretch last year. Like they have good players like Jamie Benn, Tyler Seguin.
But they didn't play. They didn't play like stars.
No, they didn't. Hey, look at that. Stars playing like stars.
Stars didn't play like stars.
But going back to Montreal, I'm not very high on them. Sure, they've started off great. I don't think they can stay like that. I also think they're not having an amazing test in the Canadian division because there's a couple teams that are good, and the bottom, some teams aren't really playing like they should be yet. So obviously they got good goalies. You know, Price carried them through Pittsburgh in the play-in series last year. I just can't take them serious without a star. So that's the main reason why I'm going to put them as fake.
I have the Canadians as real. Part of that due to it seems like not only has their goaltending been promising, but they're creating a lot of offense, and their offense isn't even necessarily coming from their forwards. Petry's doing really well, and you have Toffoli and Anderson as well. So I would have to say that they are real. Considering also the fact that who are we comparing them against? The Leafs, right? So
And the Leafs would be the next team you compare them against, yeah.
yeah, and I would have to say that although the Leafs have star power, their star power has proven not to be that promising in the playoffs. So I would further claim that although the Canadians might not have their Matthews, they might not need it in the playoffs. So yeah, I think they're real.
All right.
Who you guys want to do? Let's go Toronto next.
Okay.
Be Well's team.
Okay. Do you want me to start or?
You can go last.
Okay.
I got Toronto real. Pains me to say that because my whole family is Leafs fans and I am not. Me and my sister only two. They are real this year though. I loved their signings, bringing in some grit in Wayne Simmons and Joe Thornton. You know, you put Joe Thornton on that first line with Marner and Matthews. He's got one of the biggest hockey IQs in the league. He'll feed Marner and Matthews all day. You know, you got a top 2 scorer in Matthews already, and then you add Joe Thornton, giving him doing Joe Thornton things behind the net, giving him the puck in the slot. You know, Matthews is going to be that even much better than the player. The one thing I do not like, I don't like how the way TJ Brody's been yet. I think he can definitely improve playing with Riley, but I just don't think he's been worth what they gave him yet. But he could change his mind. So that's the main reasons why I'm putting Toronto as real. He's going last.
Okay. Well,
Let's hear what he has to
although
say.
I was using my Toronto Maple Leafs to further my Montreal Canadiens argument, I'm gonna have them as real as well, just because I don't know, they are seeming like this is the best team they've been in a while. Like they're quite dominant and they're deep, right? And the only reason why I would have any doubt is just based off of, you know, I don't know, previous years of watching them. So I as far as this year, I would have to say they're real. Yeah, they got an amazing team, and yeah.
I also obviously I think they're real.
They're real every year.
I think they're real every year.
Which is why I have trouble thinking they're real.
No, I don't think they'll. I'm not a biased Leafs fan actually. I know my team sucks when they suck. But the Leafs are real. They added everything that they need. Normally the Leafs just keep adding forwards and forwards and forwards, and you're like, what are you doing? But this year they added the grit, they added defense, they had 4 rotational NHL goalies to try and push Freddie and Campbell's been great this year. He's hurt, but he's 2-0. Hutch is not a Leaf goat for sure. But just Campbell being 2-0 and playing great makes Freddie have to play better. TJ Brody, the best defensive partner Morgan Riley's had since Ron Hainsey.
Jake Gardner
Didn't really play with Morgan Riley. Thank God. Yeah, just like Noah said, Wayne Simmons, Joe Thornton. They didn't mention Jason Spetz has been great this year. Normally the problem with the Leafs has been defense and just the stars carrying. And this year you've had production from multiple people that you normally don't get it from. So maybe that'll help them in the playoffs.
We are going to move into the Edmonton Oilers.
Let me keep going.
Okay.
I'm on a rant right now. The Edmonton Oilers, I think they're fake. They've I don't know on the top of my head. Maybe you have the standings. How many games have the Edmonton Oilers won? 7.
7. They're 7-7. They're in 4th.
Okay, so they've won 7 games. 4 of them are against the Sens. So not playing the Sens, they're a 500 hockey team.
They still have a -1 different goal differential.
They have a -1 goal differential playing the Sens 4 times.
They have more goals against than goals for.
And
they have 1 more goal against than they do goals for.
Well, like their defense is okay at best. Their goaltending is terrible. The Edmonton Oilers, sure, they're like the Leafs from a couple years ago. Like you can go into the regular season and win every game 7-5, but it doesn't work in the playoffs. You need to win those 2-1, 3-2, 3-1 games. And the Edmonton Oilers, I don't see them, especially with their goaltending. They can't hold down, only letting in 1 to 2 goals a game in the playoffs. They're not real.
I'm gonna agree with Beal. I got this fake. I had them as fake before this, but then I watched them play the Sens last night. It was the first time since like 2017 that McDavid and Draisaitl both didn't have a point, and they almost lost to the Ottawa Senators. They should have lost to the Ottawa Senators. So
They've had some close games.
That just shows you why I think they're fake. They're a two-person team.
Yeah.
You got Nugent. Yeah, so I think the Oilers are a two-person team. They showed it last night playing against the Sens, not having a great game for McDavid and Draisaitl, and their goaltending is shaky. Mikko Koskinen is not the guy. You got 39-year-old Mike Smith, who is out of his prime.
Mm-hmm.
He's a backup now. So personally, I do think they're fake. I don't think they go all the way, and I think McDavid is going to get frustrated very soon.
Okay, so I do not have the Oilers as real either. I have them as fake as well, because if you look at their games, considering the fact that they're playing the Senators so much, and the Senators are so bad, yeah, you know, like, I'd also agree with what you guys are saying about how they're similar to what the Leafs were just a couple of years ago, and that's why the Leafs are doing better, is because they filled the holes that the Oilers have yet to fill, right? So that's defense, that's goaltending. I mean, obviously McDavid's going to be McDavid, Draisaitl's going to be insane as well, but yeah, they're top heavy right now, it seems like. So
very top heavy.
Yeah.
We'll move on to Calgary now.
Calgary was the one team I was tossing and turning about, but I ended up putting them as fake. I think the Calgary Flames are a playoff team, but I don't see them beating the Leafs, the Habs, or even the Jets in a playoff series, and therefore I have them fake. I think, like, if Calgary's probably the one team that if they did go far, I would accept being wrong. Just Calgary, I don't know. Every time I watch Calgary, I just don't feel like they have it yet. They got Markstrom. It doesn't seem like he's found it yet. Goudreau's starting to pick it up. But again, they're seeming to be a little top heavy as well right now. They lost TJ Brody. I think they're a playoff team again. I don't see them beating a Leafs or a Habs or a Jets.
I got them as real if they can figure it out. They are a very deep team. I like the signing of Jake Markstrom because their goaltending was a bit iffy, and then they also have David Riddick as a backup, who was an all-star last year. So
Big save, Dave.
He's a pretty decent goalie. But like Brandon said, they have to figure it out.
Yeah, for sure.
They're second last right now. They're only 1 point behind the Canucks and 3 behind the Oilers.
But the Canucks have played tons.
The Canucks have played a lot of games.
Mine's not updated, I guess, or something.
So that is mainly the reason why I have them as real if they start to play. If they don't begin to play anytime soon, I will 100% write them off as fake. But for now, I'm going to keep them as real if they begin to start to play.
Yeah, so I also have them as real. They seem like they're not necessarily a goal-scoring team as of yet, but they're also doing really well, not allowing that many goals against. They're in their whole division, aside from Montreal, they have the least amount of goals against with just 33, and they're on a 2-goal wins. Sorry, not 2-goal. 2-game win streak as well, and I
think they just lost last night.
Okay,
but your thing must just not be.
I think they won last night, but mine's not updated.
I think his is not.
I think Brandon's is right.
I mean, Max's.
Yeah, Max's, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. But yeah, in mine, they have them as
They didn't play last night.
They played last night. They played the Jets last night. What? Yeah, they did.
That's probably
Keep going
not
down.
an updated.
That's today.
There, see?
That's
What?
today.
They played last night. I saw it. They played last night.
Oh yeah, they did. They won.
Oh, they won?
They won
Okay.
3-2.
I
So
know. I
Max-
knew it was 3-2. I didn't know
Max
who
has
won.
Max has the updated one.
Okay, so yeah, in the updated schedule, you see that they've won the past 2 games. They have 13 points. They're not allowing that many goals against, and that's kind of what they are. They're consistently that. So, I'm hoping to see Edmonton somehow start to fall down and not be as consistent. And the question for them is if they can beat that Winnipeg level team, because I don't see them beating Toronto right now, and I don't see them beating Montreal, but I don't think they're right off for sure. I'm nodding towards how Noah feels. So yeah.
Winnipeg. They are my final real team. I think it's just they're kind of like the Calgary Flames. They haven't figured it out yet, but in terms of Winnipeg and Calgary, I think Winnipeg's just got the better team. They got a Vesna goalie who can steal a game for you. They've got their defense is better. I would say better than the Flames. It's nothing to write home about, but it's better. When you got people like Scheifele, Wheeler, Pierre-Luc Dubois, Kyle Connor, like Ehlers, they're a deep offensive team, and if they can get scoring from all four lines, I think they can have a deep run in the playoffs.
I'm personally going to disagree with B-Wall. I have them as fake. I don't think they're very deep other than their first two lines. They have a very star-studded first two lines, but then who do you have after that? You have Matthew Perreault, who is like the only name I know past those first two lines. And their defense, I disagree again with B-Wall. I do not believe that their defense is as good as Calgary's. I believe Calgary has a better defense as a core. Obviously, they had to have Connor Hellebuck, who was the Vesna Trophy winner last year. He will definitely steal a couple games, but personally, I have them as fake.
Yeah, so I have them as fake as well. I think their defense is quite shaky. Although they had their Vesna Trophy winner in net, he hasn't even been that great. He's been okay, but not been great. Yeah, I don't, like I said, my worry about them is being top heavy and relying on their offense too much, because if we don't have that Vesna level player and we're losing, I mean, I'm not saying them losing Line A was necessarily a bad thing, because, they got back, what did they get back in return?
Dubois.
Yeah, so, they got something back, but, yeah, I don't trust them right now. They don't seem to be a consistent team as of late, so for that reason, I'd have to say they're fake.
Can we all agree that Winnipeg and Calgary will make the playoffs over Edmonton?
Yes.
Yes, that's what I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
mainly on the goaltending.
I think the four playoff teams will definitely be Toronto, Montreal, Calgary, Winnipeg, and it's the Canadian division, so anything can happen.
And then we have our final team. We have the Vancouver Canucks. I'm going to personally go first. Personally. I have them in the same realm as Calgary. They can be a real team if they begin to play. They have people like Brock Besser, Pedersen, JT Miller, Bo Horvat. They got Hoglander, who's been pretty decent this year. The thing is that they have not figured it out. Their goaltending has been very shaky with Demko and Holtby, which they're both two very above average goalies. And I personally am not a fan of their defense core past Quinn Hughes. And maybe Alex Edler's a pretty decent stay-at-home defenseman. But other than that, I'm not very high on their D. But if they begin to start playing, you saw it last year in the playoffs, they can push teams to their limits.
Go ahead.
So I have them as fake, just because if you compare them to the other teams that we're talking about here, they're not on the same level. Even compared to Calgary right now, they've lost 5 in a row. And they have 63 goals against, and they're at -13 rating. Calgary is way better than that. They've won 2 in a row, and they have 33 goals against, right? Like, that's almost half the amount of goals more scored on Vancouver than Calgary. So their goaltending is more than just shaky right now. It's pretty awful. Although they have talent up front, even in comparison to the other teams, their talent is similar, but it's not better, right? So I don't see that much upside for them. Don't get me wrong, they played well last year, and they can be a good team. But as of right now, there's not very much upside. So, yeah, I think they're fake.
Yeah, I also think the Vancouver Canucks are fake. They lost 3 big pieces to their team last year with Markstrom, Toffoli, and Tanev. And they didn't get anything back for them. They just lost them. They're what's their record? 6-10?
Yeah.
Their record 6-10. 3 of their wins are against Ottawa, which is basically so they're 3-10. Their goalie, you lose Markstrom. They were hoping that
Holtby.
No.
Demko
would step up, and he hasn't. Pedersen's finally starting to find his groove. Brock Besser's their top line's starting to get it together, but other than that, They're a hard team to watch. Like, they don't even look like they want to be out there some nights. Like, well, I just know this because they just played the Leafs, and the Leafs spanked them all 3 nights, and it was like
the last game.
The last game. I feel bad for Vancouver. But the third period, Vancouver
didn't come to play in the third.
They didn't come to play, and it just doesn't look like they want to be there. And I think they're fake.
So that is gonna do it for this episode, guys. So we decided that we are now gonna post twice a week, but make the episodes shorter. So we will now be posting Tuesdays and we say Saturday. Saturday.
Sure.
So we'll be back Tuesday. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Make sure to subscribe to an interesting episode, and we'll see you next week.
Peace.
See you later, guys.
That was friggin'.